Hey, this is Marshall with Slick Tools. I'm the designer of the AG Bender. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the AG Bender to turn a roll of wire mesh like this into rigid durable channels like this. The main application for these wire mesh channels is in solar animal guard, or AG for short. Animal guard keeps birds, squirrels, and debris out from underneath rooftop solar arrays. In this video, I won't go into detail on how to actually install the wire mesh, but you can learn more about that and other animal guard topics at www.slicktoolsllc.com. Here's a quick glossary of the AG Bender components. You can refer back to this image throughout the video. Our first step is to anchor the machine. You'll be pulling material away from the machine during use, so it needs to be held in place. For this demo, I've screwed the AG Bender into a piece of MDF and then strapped the MDF to a tailgate. You might also mount it to a bench in the warehouse or strap it to something at the job site. In any case, it's critical to 1. Make sure it's firmly attached so it can't come loose unexpectedly. 2. Leave plenty of space in front of the machine, at least 10 feet. And 3. Mount the machine somewhere between knee and chest height to avoid unnecessary back strain. Next, we'll set the profile width. For this, you'll need to know the size of the roof-to-array gap you're trying to fill. Measure the array at a few locations. You'll want the mesh profile width to be about a ½ inch smaller than the roof-to-array gap. Measure the spacing of the gears at the back of the machine from outside to outside. Slide the movable side of the machine until this dimension equals your target profile width. Now we'll set the bend angle. The machine can make 1 or 2 bends in the wire mesh, and each can be set to between about 45 and 90 degrees. Different roof types, racking systems, and attachment methods call for different angles, but typically you'll want 2 bends just under 90 degrees so that there's a bit of a spring fit when you install the animal guard. Adjust the angle of the bend on each side by loosening the angle adjust knob and rotating the angle adjustment arm. For a 90-degree bend, rotate the arm all the way in. For any smaller angle, rotate it out. You'll be able to fine-tune these angles once you've started bending material. Next, we'll load material into the machine. Find the free end of the wire mesh and point it away from you. Take a close look at the wire mesh roll. It's made up of long wires and short wires. Normally, the long wires are on the outside of the roll. If this is the case, slide the spindle into the roll from left to right. If the short wires are on the outside, you've got what we'll call an inside-out roll. Slide the spindle in from right to left. Thread the spindle adapter onto the spindle and press it in until the roll is contained on both sides. With the spindle knob on your left, load the spindle into the machine. The spindle has 2 plastic guides which should fall on either side of the spindle support bracket on the stationary side of the machine. Push the spindle into the bracket until you feel a solid pop on both sides. Unwrap any plastic around the mesh roll and straighten out any stray wires at the leading edge of the material so they don't jam in the machine. Guide the leading edge down into the gears at the back of the machine. Wrapping the material around the gears, pass it into the machine just enough that it stays in place. If you have an inside-out roll, the mesh will come off the bottom of the roll and wrap 180 degrees around the gears. If the mesh doesn't line up perfectly with the gears, slide the movable side of the machine in until it does. It's essential that you have good alignment here. From the front of the machine, use the included hook to reach into the machine and pull the material through. If you feel a hang-up, check for stray wires hitting a frame plate. The machine is now primed and ready to go. Before bending material, I like to measure out the length of piece I want, usually about 10 feet, and leave a marker on the ground so I know how far to pull. Using the hook, grab onto the mesh and pull out as much material as you want. Cut the mesh where it exits the bender. I suggest cutting the sides first, allowing a gap to open up so it's easier to cut the middle. Stack the cut piece out of the way and you're ready to bend the next piece. That covers the basics. Now here are some other pointers. If you've finished a job and want to leave material in the bender, secure it with a bungee cord so it doesn't uncoil during transport. Material cannot go backwards through the machine, so if you want to remove the roll, cut it where it enters the machine and pull out the short piece left inside. The bend width cannot be adjusted while there is material inside the machine. The angle can be adjusted with material in the machine. It will just take a little extra force. You can make an L-shaped profile with a single bend by adjusting the machine width so that the unbent edge of the mesh is just barely engaged with the gear on that side. The material will be supported on that side but not actually bent. Before feeding material into the machine, you can shift the roll left and right on the spindle and use the white plastic guides to maintain that position. This will shift the balance of material between the left and right flanges of the profile. Wire mesh rolls have a tendency to uncoil while on the spindle, which can be a pain if there's limited space around the machine. To limit uncoiling, you can tighten the set screws in the spindle support brackets. Tightening the screws will make the mesh less likely to uncoil, but will make it slightly harder to pull material through the machine. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, email me directly at marshall@slicktoolsllc.com. Also, visit our website for installation tips, recommendations on materials and vendors, and other tools that will help you get your job done easier. Thanks a lot, and good luck out there.